Morning, everyone. It's 10:35. Let's get started. Um, I'm Eric Ho, the chair for this session. In this session, there are 5 presenters from the University of Hong Kong. They are Dr. Natalie Fong, Dr. Lockie Law, Dr. Parker Wong, Dr. Joanna Lee, and Dr. Alice Yao. And their presentation title is An Investigation of Hong Kong U Undergraduates Learning Transfer of Academic English. We have 20 minutes for the presentation, and questions are welcome in chats as they present. We will have 5 minutes Q&A to address this at the end. So Dr. Fong, over to you.
Okay, so good morning, everyone. Good morning from Hong Kong. And thank you very much for sparing the time to join our session this morning. This presentation features learning transfer of academic English of the undergraduate students within the University of Hong Kong, as mentioned by Eric. So I'm Joanna. I'm one of the members of the learning transfer team within the Center for Applied English Studies. I will first give you a quick summary about how the project started, its major aims and also deliverables. This will be followed by Alice, who's going to introduce to you the course called University English, which is also one of the very first courses involved in the learning transfer project in our center. And after this, Natalie, the principal investigator of the project, is going to give you a literature review about the concept of learning transfer. And she is also going to talk a bit about the method we have adopted. And then Lockie, our senior research assistant, is going to present to you the analytical models we have used and also report on the major findings. And our presentation is going to end with Paco giving you a summary of how the data have actually informed our pedagogy and also its implications on the entire first year EAP curriculum in the university. Okay. So perhaps let me just fill you in with some information about the project. It's actually an in-house 3-year project within the center. And the idea of looking into learning transfer actually was initiated in an external examiner report written by Professor Alan Havella from Ohio State University back in 2017. One of the questions that Professor Havella actually raised in that report was, we have actually got a lot of data already to show how well our course has achieved its intended learning outcomes. However, we are actually not very sure how well students have been able to apply and also transfer the skills acquired from our courses to other learning contexts within the university. And that's how we embarked on this learning transfer project. And it has now become one of the core projects within CAES as well. Okay, so what do we want to get out of this project? And here you can see the 2 major aims of it. So basically, we would like to find out from the students what they think are the skills which are transferable from our courses to the courses that they have taken and they are taking. So this is one of the aims. And we also would like to find out the degree of transferability. And with the data we've got, we would like to be able to identify areas for improving our courses further. Okay, so these are the 2 major aims. And so what we've done so far, we actually started our pilot study in 2018, 2 years ago, and we have completed a pilot of some courses already, including core University English, which I've just mentioned about, and also the 4 courses, English interdiscipline courses for students from the Faculty of Education. Right, so now, so from the pilot, 2 major deliverables we have include the first one being, that we are actually in a better position to develop better teaching and learning materials for our students, because with the data, we are better informed about the needs of the students and also the needs of the courses, and we are able to refine our materials to better support their learning needs. And the other major deliverable from the pilot is that we have developed a framework which we can use to review our courses and also to evaluate learning transfer for other courses in the main round of study, which is actually happening at the moment. So that's all I would like to say. I'm going to now hand over to Alice, who is going to introduce to you the core University English course. So thanks, Alice.
Okay, so thank you, Joanna. So good morning. I'm going to introduce to you the background of CAS 1000. So this is the course logo with the emphasis, Joanna, okay, thank you. So with the emphasis on one of the two key components, a pencil representing writing and academic success. So next slide, please, Joanna. So CAS 1000 is a 6-credit course for Year 1 Hong Kong U students. So it is compulsory for students who obtained a score below level 5 in DSE English or equivalent to IELTS, roughly below 6.5 score, while optional for students with a score above level 5, that is IELTS above 6.5. So CAS 1000 is an EAP course for 2,400 first-year Hong Kong U undergraduate students in the academic year. It is a stepping stone from secondary school English to university English, and it helps students to use academic English more effectively in their university studies. In this English learning pathway, there are a few stages which I'm going to illustrate later. And this course aims to enhance students' proficiency in academic English by introducing them to aspects of writing, speaking, reading, and listening, which cross disciplines but of an academic register. So in this course, there is a set of skills students will learn. For example, how to identify and distinguish between main arguments and supporting details in spoken and written academic texts, express a critical academic stance in written and spoken forms, construct clear and structured arguments with skillful integration of academic sources, and demonstrate control of grammatical accuracy and lexical appropriacy. So these English academic literacy skills are essential to students at different stages of their university studies. So as you can see in this diagram, that is in the first year, students are taking common core courses. To help students develop the skills needed for these courses, topics and tasks in CAS 1000 are designed to align with these courses. Topic students engage critically in CAS 1000 are the 4 areas covered in the common core courses, namely scientific and technological literacy, humanities, global issues, and China, culture, state, and society. A research conducted by our center found that essays and reports are the most frequently assigned writing task, while tutorial discussion are the most frequently used speaking assignment type in the common core courses. So that's why in CAS 1000, we are focusing on essays, report, and tutorial discussions. In the second, third, fourth year, students will be taking our English in the discipline courses, which equip them with the communicative skills they need to participate in particular disciplinary contexts. Despite the different conventions of academic communication across disciplines, students still need to, for example, structure a coherent argument, present a stance through hedging and various kinds of evidence, develop critical reading skills by identifying how an author's opinions are expressed. So these are the skills students will be equipped in CUE or CAS 1000 as mentioned earlier in the learning outcomes. So before I end my part, I would like to introduce to you our irresistible, fun animated course video. However, due to the time constraint, we're not able to show it to you now. So if you're interested, please have a look. So as Joanna mentioned, to investigate the extent of students learn skills in CAS 1000 transfer to these learning contexts, a research project led by Natalie was initiated. In the following, Natalie and Lockie will be talk about it in detail. So Natalie, please.
Thank you, Alice. Let me take you through to the definitions of learning transfer. The definition of learning transfer is fairly consistent across different disciplines such as psychology, education, and human resources development, despite the differences in their objectives and purposes. So we can find similar definitions from different scholars. Learning transfer can occur in new situations or to address new challenges based on what we have experienced and learned. When we teach something, we anticipate to some degree that students will make good use of what they have learned or they have taught. Students could apply the skills in a future class, another course, or an area of life beyond. Learning is a prerequisite of transfer, so without prior learning or experience, how can we transfer relevant skills to other contexts? So as you can see in this slide, learning is the acquisition of knowledge and skills in certain given contexts. Transfer is the recognition and application of the learned knowledge and skills from different contexts to different new situations. So transfer is therefore a higher level cognitive process than learning, which requires the recognition of both similarities and differences in one's experiential patterns before reforming these patterns to create something new. According to the literature, there are two types of transfer, near and far. Near transfer takes place in situations which shows great similarities. Say, for example, students could apply the academic writing literacy skills they have learned from our EAP course, CUE, to courses which also require them to do academic writing. The writing contexts are very similar. For far transfer, it may take place when situations are different. For example, how students refine the learned skills and apply them into out-of-class situations, workplace, or professional contexts. So you may ask, what constitutes transfer? Taking the context of reading, writing connections from Professor Alan Havila, the external examiner of the course of our EAP course, and also from CUE, as an example, transfer will be taken place when there is a space between what we teach and how students use what we teach. So the space between must be filled to sustain reading-writing connections. So we would like to encourage students to fill up the space in order to motivate them to apply those learned skills into practice. So in a transfer-oriented framework, teachers could generate conditions that enable transfer of data between the two skills and within applications of the skills. How can we sustain transfer in an EAP instruction? So I'm sure many English language teachers would like to know more. So according to Professor Alan Havila, to help students acquire reading-writing techniques that they could apply or transfer to future source-based writing contexts beyond the writing course. So he gave us an example. When we are going to teach students synthesizing skills within the writing class, we would like students to apply their abilities to synthesize from multiple sources in a research paper. So, for example, a student who learns to synthesize in an EAP writing course and want to do so in a history course must consider the disciplinary features they apply in the area, which could potentially include different views on how synthesizing should be represented. So what can teachers do to promote transfer in classrooms? According to our study, we came up with a number of suggestions. We could help students develop effective transfer habits. We, as teachers, understand what knowledge students acquired and what skills they can transfer, and encourage students to apply and transfer skills via appropriate instructional activities. In terms of research gap, let's have a look. We noted that among the studies which provide evidence of transfer from EAP instruction to students' other courses, many have failed to provide sufficient detail about how transfer occurred or how EAP instruction might affect transfer. So this project is a more targeted and structured study of understanding students' perceptions on the learned skills and extent of transferability. We conducted a study 2 years ago, and it's a 3-year project. Data were collected by means of online survey, as well as focus group discussions with students. Lockie, the senior research assistant of the project, will give you more details. Lockie, please.
Thank you, Natalie. Okay, so our completed work in this project so far, we have conducted 2 rounds of in-class e-survey with our students in week 6 and week 9. We completed focus group / interviews with our CUE students and the Common Core teachers and their students. Also, we have conducted in-class e-surveys with current and past students from the 2 selected Common Core courses, one from humanities and one from science and technology. Basically, the criteria for choosing these 2 Common Core courses is based on their class sizes and also the components that is being covered in their courses, including written and spoken. Thank you, Joanna. Next slide. Thank you. So in terms of quantitative data that we've collected, we have, in the 2 rounds, we have collected about 680 students in each round. And then the response rate is about 65% out of the 1,040 CUE students enrolled. And then with using the partial least square structural equation modeling method, we then perform all the calculations, and we have the results in the next slide. So for those of you who have attended my presentation yesterday, basically you should be very familiar with how to interpret this. But to be very precise, we have obtained very high R-squares. Basically, that means the predictive power. And then we also have very strong relationships between the content relevance construct, pointing towards the understanding of learning construct, which then points to the transfer / applicability construct. And what that means is basically it tells us that content relevance is the key latent variable that drives the whole learning transfer process. Thank you, Joanna. Next slide, please. Okay, so and because we use formative questions to ask our students, we are able to obtain specific information from the skills that they learn, and also what kind of skills are being transferred. So the PLS SEM results shows us that the CU students generally considered the following EAP skills as major contributors to this transfer, including the interpretation of arguments discussed in the academic sources accurately, the evaluation of criticality of written work, using appropriate grammar and vocabulary to maintain an academic style or tone in writing, and search for useful, relevant academic online or in library for assignments. So these basically points towards the reading and writing connection. And that's also being reflected in the focus group interviews. And here's a quote at the bottom. I think the most important thing is she, the teacher, taught us how to read the reading because doing the essays, before doing the essays, because we have to read a lot and also do a lot of research. So she taught us like where we can find the readings and how we can read in very efficient way, like point out the main points. Okay, so I think reading material and also writing skills are really useful for my Common Core courses. Thank you. Next slide, please. Okay, so now I'll pass on to Dr. Parker Wong to talk to you about the pedagogy and implications. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Lockie. Well, now, to raise student awareness of learning transfer, teachers are constantly reminded to emphasize the relationship between CA's 1000 and Common Core courses. And previous research shows that most students tend to have serious problems in source-based writing. So our students are not able to transfer what they read to their own writing, and this leads to a lot of writing problems. So to solve this, we produced a reading for writing RFW component to satisfy the academic needs of students in other university courses. In this context, the Common Core courses, that is the CC courses, there are 3 steps altogether. Next slide. Now, first, we highlight the critical role of reading, and we ask students to recall, to describe, to explain the reading problems they have. We try to tell students that academic reading is not as simple as it looks. Next slide. Then we invite students to explain to us how they read or how they extract information from a text. We also recommend 3 critical reading strategies to students based on the research findings of Avila 2019. Next slide. Now, the 3 critical reading strategies include the first one, approach 1, mining. It is about how we read with a clear purpose in mind and how we can locate relevant information efficiently. Next slide. The second approach is writerly reading. It is about how we achieve quick reading through making prediction or anticipation, and how readers take up the persona of a writer. And approach 3, modeling. So it is about what we should do and what we should not. It is also about expectation, that is how a writer matches the expectation of readers or the academic conventions. Next slide. So the last step is in-class writing practices. Students apply the reading strategies they have learned into the writing practices. Here we focus on summary writing. Next slide. And in week 12, that is the end of the semesters, students are given a chance to talk very, very explicitly about or how they can transfer the reading for writing skills of this EAP course to other Common Core courses. This is to ensure that students are fully aware of learning transfer. And next slide. And the pilot study of learning transfer in CS1000 was completed, and the main round is about to begin. We hope that when this project is over, we will have a clearer and better idea about the effectiveness and impact of learning transfer in the CS1000 course, and how we can further strengthen the learning transfer of students. This is also the end of this presentation. We hope you like this presentation. Thank you very much. All questions are welcome. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. If you have any questions, you are welcome to ask, or you can let us know your questions in the chat box. Any questions?
Can I ask a question, please?
Yes, Amy, please go ahead.
Yeah, thank you very much for your presentation. First of all, I was wondering, because in your transfer, one of the things that you mentioned was using appropriate grammar and vocabulary to maintain academic style is one of the teaching foci. I was wondering what was in the teaching material that you used to guarantee that transfer. Did you teach any learning strategies in grammar and in vocabulary? Thank you.
In fact, we didn't really teach any particular grammar or vocabulary within the curriculum because the curriculum is really packed. But we developed a vocabulary and grammar Moodle. All right, lots of independent learning exercise for students to further strengthen their vocabulary building and grammar techniques.
Thank you. Any other questions from the audience?
Yes, hello, this is Johanna. I was wondering if you could tell us a little bit more about how much time was dedicated to the reading strategies, because this is something that I find is very important, but I often find that there isn't enough time within the course to really talk about it, and I always feel very bad about that. So could you add a little bit more, elaborate?
I think okay, Paco could add the details. I think about 1/4 of the curriculum. We schedule 3 full sections. Each section has 3 hours in the curriculum to cover reading and writing connections.
Okay, thank you very much.
All right, any more questions?
In case if you don't have any questions, you can still look at the chat because I have just included the 2 resources that we have used in the presentation. So the first one is the video that Alice was talking about, and the second one is the paper that myself and Dr. Fong has published based on this project, and includes a lot of results and methodology and more technical presentations. So you may want to take a look if you have time. Thank you.
You know what? I've just downloaded the article. Very, very well structured, and I love learning analytics. So I love numbers. I really love this article. Thank you. Okay.
Thank you, Eric. Thank you, Eric. It is actually a pioneering effort, in terms of using this modeling, PLS-SEM modeling in EAP study. Something that has been widely done in marketing, business, and human resources development, but never been done in EAP research. So it's a game changer. Hopefully that more people will be using it and get to know what the relationship between certain constructs and how basically learning is carried out in the cognitive side. Something that's also related to Professor Cummings' keynote presentation yesterday.
Please give us your comments after you're reading the publication. Thank you.
All right, if there is no more question, thank you everyone for coming to this session. I hope you will enjoy the rest of the conference and have a good day. Goodbye, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.